Hi, it's Celeste, your canary in the coal mine. So today I want to talk about what I do when I eat out. First of all, I try not to eat out anywhere near as much as I used to. I no longer regard eating out as very entertaining because when I look at most restaurants' menus, there's very little on it that isn't contaminated in some way or another with things that I prefer not to eat because my body reacts to them. And some of those things are gluten, dairy products, and sugar. So I'm usually, when I'm going out to eat, well, let's talk about the two different categories. There's going out with friends, where the purpose is to be with the friends, and then there's going out because I'm running errands and I need some food. So on the running errands and I need some food thing, what I'm usually looking for, either way actually, is I'm usually looking for some kind of salad. And because I try to really limit the amount of meat and fish and eggs and chicken that I take in, I'm usually looking for a vegetarian salad. Although several restaurants have salads that have some meat or some chicken in them, that I either, get that and then pick out those other parts, pick out the meat or the chicken, or I ask them to hold it on the order, and sometimes they can. So for real quick stuff, the first place that I usually go is a Subway, because we've got them everywhere where I live. And I can always order their chopped veggie salad and then ask for all the vegetables, maybe not all the peppers, maybe only one kind of pepper, and have some dressing put on it. I like honey mustard. I know that restaurant dressing is not going to be terrifically good for me, but I figure I'm eating an awful lot of vegetables there, and that's good for me. So, and I don't take the tempting chocolate chip cookie. So that's what I eat when I need something and I'm out and I don't have something of my own. Now, normally I carry some snacks with me. I carry some nuts and maybe mixed with a little bit of raisins or something like that, so that if I get into a situation where I'm really getting hungry, I'm not forced to have to go to a restaurant if I don't want to. Another place that I like to go is Wendy's. I don't eat the hamburger or any of those things. I'll either have one of their salads or their baked potato with nothing on it, just plain. And maybe take some of the chili sauce that comes in those little packets and put it on the potato to make it a little more lively. And I also enjoy their chili. I mean, the chili has meat in it, but it also has a lot of beans in it, which is what I'm really going for. So that's probably not as healthy for me as the Subway, but when there's a Wendy's and there's no Subway, that's what I eat. We also have Panera Bread restaurants in this area, and that's a good place because they have some very interesting salads, and they have some salads that every ingredient in it is something I can eat. I don't have to ask them to alter the recipe, which is what I often have to do at other restaurants. Now, with regard to places like Burger King and McDonald's, their salads are so unfulfilling because they've only got like lettuce, maybe a tomato, and maybe a cucumber on them, and that's just not enough to fill me up. So I'm looking for places that have big salads. Now, when I go out with friends, it's the same deal. I'm still looking for places that have big salads and interesting salads and tasty salads, and maybe they come with something on them, like meat or chicken or something, and maybe they don't, and maybe I can ask them to hold it. When people say, well, where do you want to go out to eat? My first response usually is, well, not an Italian place, because there's almost nothing on the menu that I can eat. The whole menu is built around wheat products, pasta, which has a lot of gluten in it, and I don't do well with gluten. I nod off about an hour after I eat a big plate of pasta. So Chinese restaurants or Southeast Asian restaurants are often good because, first of all, they use rice, and if you're careful and look at the menu carefully, they actually have some noodle dishes that are made with rice noodles rather than wheat noodles. So that's good for me. So those Thai restaurants work for me, and so forth. So can you see where I'm going with this? It's kind of like I'm trying to pick things on the menu that don't have dairy in them, don't have wheat in them, don't have meat, fish, poultry in them, or they only have a little bit, which would be instead of getting a steak with a side salad, you get a huge bowl of salad with maybe a little bit of steak in it. Do you see the difference? That's what I'm always aiming at. So that's how I cope with eating out. But honestly, I really eat out a lot less than I used to because I've gotten so good at being able to control the ingredients when I make things at home myself, rather than taking chances with what's going to be served to me out in restaurants. And even if I select really wisely in restaurants, still it's highly unlikely that they are buying organic produce and organic meats. It's just likely that they're using conventional products to create those meals. And as tasty as they might be, that means I'm taking in some toxins that I wouldn't be taking in if I was eating at home. So I've developed some really quick and fast ways to make myself some things at home so that I don't have to have that choice between, gee, it'll only take me a few minutes to stop in here at this restaurant before I'll get served, versus having the thought that when I get home I'll have to cook for hours and hours. Well, that's just not true. You don't have to cook for hours and hours, but you have to have it. You have to have the right ingredients in your house, and you have to have a plan for exactly how you're going to get something into your stomach in the minimum amount of time at home. So that's what I wanted to say today, all about eating out and how I cope with it, given my desires to avoid certain ingredients. So I want you all to experiment with this, go out and see what you can find on the menu that actually eliminates a bunch of the problem foods. And I want you to start trying some of those foods on the menu to see if that's something that you could keep in the back of your mind, that anytime I'm in this restaurant, I'm going to order this, you know. So have a good time with experimenting and stay well.